The first thing I did after being reborn was to immerse my hands in sulfuric acid to destroy my fingerprints. In my previous life, my adopted sister killed someone but left my fingerprints at the scene, making me the scapegoat. Not only did my parents fail to seek justice for me, but they also gave false testimony for my adopted sister and led the online harassment against me, the so-called murderer, on the day I was executed. They took my adopted sister to an island to celebrate their narrow escape. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn 1 hour before my adopted sister committed murder. This time, I will make sure they have no chance to fabricate evidence. I stood at the center of the world's busiest square, and under the shocked or mocking gazes of countless people, I began to take off my clothes one by one. In the cold winter, first the down jacket, then the inner layers, and finally the thermal underwear. Finally, I danced a hot dance wearing only underwear that barely covered the 3 key points. Countless cameras were aimed at me, and a live stream with millions of views was born because of me. Folks, please follow the channel. After the striptease, I'll perform washing my hands with sulfuric acid for you. Upon hearing this, the barrage of comments in the live stream flew by even faster. Is this woman crazy? There has to be a limit to chasing clout. Nothing from the outside world could disturb me. I kept on dancing. By the time I finished the last song, the security guards responsible for maintaining order arrived late. Hurry up and leave, or I'll send you to the police station. I smiled and slapped my ID card onto one of them. My name is Juno G. My father is Ji Jiping of the G Group, my mother is the ballet dancer Xu Qiuqi, and my sister is Luna G, the campus belle of Peking University. Go ahead and call the police. Go ahead and contact them. As I spoke, I picked up the sulfuric acid I had placed by my feet earlier. What are you trying to do? Intentionally injuring someone will land you in jail. Seeing me open the cap of the sulfuric acid, the security guard was so frightened that he couldn't even speak clearly. I ignored them, however, and poured the sulfuric acid directly onto the ground, placing both palms on it. Sizzle, sizzle. The delicate skin was instantly corroded by the strong acid, and the air filled with a charred smell similar to roasted meat. I was in so much pain that cold sweat poured down, and my whole body felt weak, yet the sense of relief in my heart still made me stand up. The onlookers had already backed away more than 3 meters. I walked up to the person closest to me, whose phone was live streaming. I displayed my blooded, mangled hands to everyone, gritting my teeth and saying, "Did you see clearly?" After 5:30 p.m. on January 12th, I, Juno G, no longer have fingerprints. In my previous life, just 3 hours later, my so-called sister Luna G would force a female classmate onto the rooftop and personally push her off. She had prepared gloves engraved with my fingerprints in advance and destroyed all nearby surveillance cameras. And my parents provided her with an alibi while fabricating false evidence that I was the murderer. They joined forces to make me the scapegoat. But now, I've stolen the spotlight in front of the whole world, and my hands are mangled and bloody. I recall the hypocritical words Luna G said when she visited me in my previous life. "Sister, I had no choice. Mom and Dad love me too much. If I went to prison, how heartbroken they would be. So, I had to let you take the blame." So, to fulfill my sister's wish for a family reunion, I had no choice but to send all 3 of them to prison, silently putting on my gloves, as I stayed in the security room with the guard for the police's routine questioning. A sudden force grabbed my hair and threw me to the ground. Immediately after, 2 sharp slaps landed on my face. "You worthless disgrace. Your striptease videos are all over the internet now. You've completely shamed the G family." Standing before me were Ji Jiping and Xu Qiuqi, my biological parents. Seeing that I didn't respond, Ji Jiping became even more furious, grabbing my chin and harshly questioning me. "You can embarrass yourself all you want, but why did you have to mention your sister's name in the livestream?" Meanwhile, Xu Qiuqi had tears in her eyes, looking at me with nothing but disappointment. "How could I have given birth to someone like you? If Luna G suffers even the slightest grievance because of you, I will immediately sever our mother-daughter relationship." Without warning, 2 hot tears rolled down my cheeks. My heart, which should have long been disappointed in this couple, was now wrenched with pain, hurting more than the biting winter wind. Before the age of 5, I was still the little princess of the family, but ever since Luna G was adopted, the hearts of Ji Jiping and his wife have never been on my side. as a child, because I fought with her over the same doll. Ji Jiping directly had me hung up and beaten severely, then locked in a pitch-black basement. If it weren't for the kind-hearted nanny who brought me some food every night, I probably would have died in that damp basement. From then on, my entire early life was spent in Luna Ji's shadow. If there was even the slightest thing that displeased her, the consequences ranged from being confined and subjected to family discipline to being starved to the point of ending up in the ICU until the college entrance exam scores were released. I got into Kyoto University, while Luna Ji only made it to a regular undergraduate program, just when I thought the chance for liberation had finally arrived. Ji Jiping used his connections to swap our scores. Luna Ji's celebration banquet lasted 3 days and 3 nights, entertaining the entire city. Meanwhile, my living expenses were cut off, forcing me to start working day and night to earn a living. Suddenly, a clear ringtone pulled me out of my memories. Bowing her head, Shu Qiuqi's phone screen clearly showed an incoming call from Luna Ji. Her attitude completely changed from the sarcastic way she had treated me. She answered the phone with a beaming smile. "Sweetie, what's up?" Whatever was said on the other end of the line, Shu Qiuqi's expression shifted repeatedly, and eventually, her gaze fixed on me. She handed the phone to Ji Jiping and leaned in close to me, forcing what she thought was a kind smile. "Juno, it was all Mom and Dad's fault just now. As an apology, I've booked a seaside hotel. Didn't you say it's been a long time since we had a meal together? Is it finally happening, in my past life?" Longing for my parents' care, I almost immediately got into their car and headed to the seaside hotel, but I never expected the car to stop at the building where the female student had fallen. Inside was the carefully crafted frame-up package that Luna Ji had designed for me, this time, in response to her inquiry. I just spat a mouthful of bloody saliva onto Shu Qiuqi's delicate face. "I'm not going, later. I still have to continue my striptease," Shu Qiuqi screamed, stood up, and pointed at my nose, about to curse, but for some reason, she held back at the last moment. "Ah, Juno, don't be childish anymore. Mom and Dad have both apologized to you, haven't they?" As she spoke, she tugged at Ji Jiping's clothes, urging him to say something. I spat another mouthful of blood onto Ji Jiping's face and curled my lips into a smirk at him. I said, "I'm not going." Using almost all his strength, Ji Jiping kicked me in the chest, sending me flying a meter away. My back slammed against the marble pillar of the police station, and I felt as if the bones in my back were about to crack. "Don't push your luck when given a chance. Someone, tie her up and put her in the car." Ji Jiping angrily wiped the blood from his face and summoned 2 bodyguards in black. The police officer tried to stop them but was threatened by Ji Jiping. I have connections in high places. The 2 bodyguards roughly twisted my arms behind my back, grabbed my hair, and tried to shove me into the car. "Throw it in the trunk. This clueless idiot doesn't deserve to sit in the back seat." Instantly, memories of fear flooded my mind, and I began to struggle violently. 3 years ago, Ji Jiping and Shu Qiuqi took Luna Ji on a road trip, and I had to beg and plead just to get them to let me ride along in the trunk. But for the entire trip, it was as if they had forgotten I existed, leaving me in the trunk for 3 whole days and nights. The will to survive drove me to break open the trunk and escape. But Luna Ji accused me of damaging her beloved car and urged my parents to abandon me on the highway. Even now, the scars on the soles of my feet remain. Let go of me. I don't want to get in the trunk. No matter how violently I struggled, the men in black still followed Ji Jiping's orders and dislocated both of my arms. "Mom doesn't want to treat you like this either." Shu Qiuqi shed a few hypocritical tears and firmly closed the car trunk. In the pitch darkness, a wave of fear wrapped around me like vines. I began to gasp for air, my whole body trembling uncontrollably. I absolutely cannot fail here, if my mind is unsettled. Luna Ji will surely seize the opportunity to exploit it. Gritting my teeth, I bit the tip of my tongue, and a metallic, sweet taste quickly spread through my mouth. Yet, as if I couldn't feel the pain, I bit down again and again on my already battered tongue to keep myself calm. I don't know how much time passed before the car trunk was finally opened, and a bright light pierced through my eyelids. "How did you end up like this, little sister?" Luna Ji stood with her arms crossed, looking down at me from above. Thrown roughly to the ground by the bodyguard, she stepped on my hand, slowly grinding it with the tip of her shoe. "If you weren't of some use to me right now, I wouldn't even bother seeing trash like you." Attach her arm, and change into these clothes, at her command. The bodyguard tore off my clothes and, ignoring my cries, forced me into the outfit Luna G wore during the crime. "Behave yourself." Luna G kicked me in the stomach. "Working for me is an honor." She grabbed my collar and dragged me up the steps as if hauling trash, a full 128 steps, and my legs were covered in bruises from all the bumps. "All right, you just stay put here, on the rooftop." I sat where Luna G had pushed her classmate Hee Chun Chun. She tousled her wavy hair and laughed recklessly. "Commoners are such a nuisance, causing trouble even in death. If it weren't for you as the scapegoat, things would have been quite troublesome." I looked up at her, a dark surge swirling in my eyes. "Luna G, you will regret this." She glanced at me with little concern, one hand grabbing my hair and smashing my head against the stone slab, while the other dialed 110. The moment the call connected, her voice took on a noticeable sob. "Hello, is this the police? Help, my sister has killed someone." In the police station, I sat on a bench in the hall, handcuffed and disheveled. Just 10 minutes ago, as soon as I was escorted out of the police car, a middle-aged woman threw herself at me. "Why did you harm my daughter? What did she ever do to you? How could you be so vicious?" Hee Chun Chun's mother, her eyes bloodshot, cried out with a voice hoarse from screaming. The people around also seemed ready to tear me apart, their sharp nails scratching my face. "I want you to pay with your blood, from beginning to end." Luna G and the other two stood by watching coldly, not forgetting to add fuel to the fire with their comments. "Juno has always been like this since she was little. She never listens no matter what we say. Look, she just pinched her sister's arm and left a bruise." Shuchochi pulled up Luna G's sleeve, revealing a bruise the size of a coin on her fair skin. "Such a small wound. I don't know how many I have on my body." "You're lying. It was clearly Luna G who pushed that girl down." "I'm just your scapegoat," I cried out loudly, but Luna G acted as if she had suffered a great injustice. "Sister, how can you say that about me? Mom, Dad, and I all witnessed you commit murder with our own eyes. This is an indisputable fact. No one will listen to my reasoned arguments now. They only see me as a cruel murderer." "Isn't that the stripper? How did she become a murderer?" "I always said she was crazy." A man recognized me, furtively pulling out his phone and pointing the camera at me. The number of viewers in the live stream instantly surpassed 1 million, and the dense barrage was filled with condemnations against me. "Everyone, go check the trending topics. The G Group has issued a statement, saying they are cutting all ties with Juno G." Oh my God. People who were bullied by Juno G in the past have come forward to expose her, and also, her parents personally admitted that she pushed Hee Chun Chun off the rooftop, claiming they witnessed it with their own eyes. Such murderers deserve to die. Yes, Juno G should die. Angry netizens quickly dug up my past and posted it online to condemn me at will. Some netizens who lived nearby even came just to throw a rotten egg at me and spit on me. The exact same events as in my previous life are unfolding before me one by one. Could it be that I truly cannot change my inevitable fate of death? No, impossible. I absolutely will not allow myself to fall into captivity again. I dug my fingertips hard into my already somewhat swollen palm. This is my last bargaining chip. I want to see the officer, in the interrogation room. Several bright lights were shining on me. 2 officers sat across from me. "Are you going to confess to the crime?" I slowly let out a breath and said firmly, "I am not the murderer." One of the officers, Officer Jong, locked eyes with me. "All the evidence now points to you. If you show a good attitude and admit your mistake, there might be a chance for a reduced sentence." "Officer, is the key evidence you have now the fingerprint on Hee Chun Chun's back? You still claim you're not the murderer. How did you know about such internal evidence?" The young officer sitting next to Officer Jong immediately became restless and stood up to question me. I ignored his aggressive tone, just slowly took off my gloves while looking down. "But, Officer Jong, my fingerprints were completely gone 3 hours ago. How could I possibly be the murderer?" Upon seeing my completely decayed palms, Officer Jong shot to his feet. The interrogation room's light was harsh and glaring, shining on my bloody, mangled hands, making the sight even more shocking. The young officer gasped and instinctively took half a step back. Even the experienced Officer Jong's pupils suddenly contracted, his expression turning extremely grave. What is this?" How did you get the injury on your hand? When did this happen? I raised my head, meeting his sharp gaze, my voice trembling with excitement at the impending turn of events. At 5:30 this afternoon, in Central Square, I personally used sulfuric acid to destroy my own fingerprints, witnessed by millions of viewers online. You can immediately retrieve the live broadcast records and videos shot by the public at the scene. The sulfuric acid has completely destroyed the dermal layer of my skin, and my fingerprints will never be restored. The chain of logic completely collapsed due to the failure of this crucial piece of evidence. The interrogation room fell into a deathly silence. The two police officers looked at each other, both seeing the shock and turmoil in each other's eyes. This discovery was enough to overturn the entire direction of the case. Hurry. Immediately verify the precise comparison between the live broadcast timeline at Central Square and the timeline of the crime. Notify the technical department to reassess the fingerprint evidence. Officer Jong abruptly stood up, gave rapid-fire orders to the young officer, then sat back down, looking at me with a complicated expression. Juno G, if what you're saying is true, but that would mean, I finished his sentence. My tone almost unnervingly cold. That means my biological parents and that dear sister of mine gave false testimony, and the real murderer is hiding among them. At that moment, the door to the interrogation room was knocked. Another officer poked his head in, looking rather strange. Captain Jong, Ji Jiping, Shu Chochi, and Luna Ji are still outside, very agitated. They insist we expedite the conviction and also say they are representing the victim's family in demanding severe punishment. Captain Jong's eyes sharpened. Perfect timing. Please escort them to separate interview rooms to wait. No one is to leave without my permission. After speaking, he turned to me, his tone softening somewhat but still carrying a hint of scrutiny. Juno G, we will investigate what you've said immediately. But until the truth is revealed, you remain a key suspect and must cooperate with our investigation. I nodded and raised my badly injured hands. Officer, I request to be accompanied by a female officer throughout the process, and I demand that my physical condition be documented and treated. Officer Jong agreed readily, and soon, a female officer came to my side. On the other side, the three members of the Ji family were taken to separate rooms. Ji Jiping initially maintained the demeanor of a corporate CEO, urging impatiently, Officer, the facts are clear, the evidence is solid, and that rebellious daughter has already admitted it. What's the hold-up? She has completely shamed our Ji family. Shu Chochi continued to play the role of the grief-stricken mother, dabbing her tears with a handkerchief. It's our failure in raising our daughter that led her to commit such a heinous act. We will do our best to compensate the victims' families. Luna Ji was the most anxious, sensing a hint of unease as she forced a smile and inquired, Officer, how is my sister? Is she emotionally unstable? Saying nonsense. Don't believe her. She must be trying to buy time to escape blame. However, the police officers who received them all gave the same response. The case is still under further investigation. Please be patient and cooperate with the investigation. As time passed minute by minute, even the slow-to-react Shu Chochi sensed that something was wrong. Officer, what exactly do you mean by this? We are witnesses, not suspects. You have no right to detain us. But the officer on duty still said, please be patient. The police worked with remarkable efficiency. Live footage from Central Square, countless screen recordings from netizens, and eyewitness testimonies were quickly compiled. With precise timestamps extracted, the time I poured the sulfuric acid was 5:30 p.m., and the forensic pathologist's preliminary estimate placed He Chuanchuan's time of death at 8:30 p.m. At the same time, my hands were initially examined by a forensic expert and confirmed to have fresh, severe chemical burns, with skin tissue severely damaged, making it absolutely impossible to leave any usable fingerprints after the injury. The technical department conducted a secondary in-depth analysis of my fingerprint collected from the scene. The feedback came quickly. The fingerprint pattern was unusually clear and continuous, lacking the natural variations in pressure and skin texture distortions typical of a normal press. Consistent with characteristics formed through transfer via a film or mold, all the pieces of evidence began to point to a shocking conspiracy. Officer Jong looked at the preliminary summary report. His face grim. Having worked in the field for many years, he had witnessed countless evils. But a case so viciously exploiting familial bonds, with such skillful means to frame one's own daughter and sister, still sent a chill down his spine. He gave the order decisively: focus the interrogation on Luna G. Apply for a search warrant to search the G family's residence and Luna G's personal belongings, looking for possible materials and tools used to create fingerprint molds. The interrogation room was now occupied by Luna G. Faced with the police's suddenly intense and oppressive questioning, as well as the overwhelming evidence presented one after another, her psychological defenses began to crumble. She had never imagined that her seemingly flawless framing plan would be exposed, let alone that I would destroy my own fingerprints beforehand, rendering all her efforts futile. I don't know what you're talking about. The fingerprints are Juno G's. My parents saw it. Luna G's voice was shrill, trying to mask her guilt with volume. Officer Jong slammed the table and said sharply, Luna G, Juno G's fingerprints were permanently damaged before the incident. The fingerprints left at the scene were transferred from a mold. Are you still not telling the truth? Creating fake fingerprints to frame someone is a serious crime. Add to that the charge of intentional homicide. Do you know the consequences? I didn't kill anyone. I didn't push him. Luna G's psychological defenses finally collapsed. She screamed and blurted it out. It was her own lack of balance that made her fall. As soon as the words left her mouth, she instantly realized she had let slip the truth, her face turning as pale as a sheet. Oh, didn't you say you saw Juno G push her? How did it suddenly become her falling on her own? Detective Jong seized the inconsistency and pressed forward step by step. Were you at the scene when the incident happened? What happened between you and the deceased? Under immense pressure and psychological fear, Luna G's spirit completely broke down. Tears and mucus streaming down her face, she began to confess incoherently. I had an argument with Hee Chun Chun, and she insulted me. I couldn't take it and pushed her. I really didn't mean to kill her. I don't know how she fell. The fingerprints were prepared long ago. My mom helped me with it. She said if anything happened, just let Juno G take the blame. After all, she has good grades and will definitely succeed in the future. If I ruin everything, my parents' efforts would be wasted. Yes, my parents knew. They taught me all this, saying I just need to insist it was Juno G. They would testify for me. Yes, go arrest them instead. They taught me all this. I'm innocent. You can't arrest me. The voice recorder clearly captured every word. The police officers outside the door exchanged glances, feeling a wave of disgust and anger, almost simultaneously. A major discovery was made during the search of the G family. The tools Luna G used to forge fingerprints but had not yet disposed of, the chat records of Xu Qiuqi and Ji Jiping planning to frame me, and the malicious articles Ji Jiping ordered the company to produce. When these pieces of evidence were presented to Ji Jiping and Xu Qiuqi respectively, their reactions were surprisingly similar. First, they flatly denied everything, then shifted blame onto each other, and finally, under the irrefutable evidence and the police's strong psychological pressure, they both collapsed to the ground one after another. Ji Jiping tried to protect the company and the family's reputation by shifting all the responsibility onto Xu Qiuqi. It was all that wretched woman's doing. I had no idea. I was just overly protective of my daughter and was deceived by her. Xu Qiuqi broke down in tears, incoherently expressing her favoritism toward Luna G and her dislike of me. Luna lost her biological parents at a young age. How pitiful. Juno G has everything, so what's wrong with giving in to her sister? Who knew something like this would happen? How could I just stand by and watch Luna's life be ruined like this? Every word of their defense was captured on camera, leaving an utterly disgraceful record. And at this moment, the internet has already been stirred into a frenzy. Initially, the entire internet was condemning me, but as time went on, complete videos of the acid hand-washing incident, posted by some on-site viewers with precise timestamps, began to be widely shared. More and more netizens started to question the situation. The timing doesn't match. She destroyed the fingerprints before the incident occurred. The hand is too severely injured. It definitely couldn't leave any fingerprints. Thinking about it is terrifying. Could it be a case of taking the blame for someone else? The G family reacted too quickly, didn't they? Is this how you treat your own daughter? It seems more like they're treating her as an enemy. That adopted daughter Luna G is from Kyoto University. There used to be videos of her bullying others on the school forum. But they were all suppressed with money and power. The public opinion began to quietly shift when internal police information was sporadically leaked, especially when clips of Luna G breaking down and her parents blaming each other were uploaded online by someone. The entire internet was in an uproar. Hashtags such as #JunoG injustice, #LunaG murder, #evilparents, and #fingerprint scandal instantly exploded on the trending searches. The netizens who had previously criticized the most fiercely now felt used, and their anger doubled, surging like a tsunami toward the G group and the G family, a family of beasts, treating their own daughter like this. Luna G, come out and pay with your life. G group is a black-hearted enterprise. Go bankrupt. Apologize to Juno G. The stock price of the G group plummeted as soon as the market opened, and partners terminated their contracts one after another. The dual blows of public opinion and the economy left it on the verge of collapse in an instant. As I was carefully escorted out of the interrogation room by a female police officer to be taken to the hospital for treatment of my hands, I happened to run into Ji Jiping, Shu Qiuqi, and Luna G, who were being separately escorted out in the police station lobby. Luna G had completely lost her mind. She screamed at the sight of me and lunged at me, but was firmly restrained by the female police officer. Devil, you are a devil, you schemed against me, and you will die a horrible death. I walked over and patted her face gently, just as she had done to me before, but now, the only one who will die is you. Shu Qiuqi saw me as if I were a savior and knelt at my feet. Juno, please save your sister. She's had a hard enough life since she lost her parents as a child, and now she's going to jail. Go beg He Chuanchuan's parents, kneel, kowtow, even if they ask you to die, just do it. Save Luna. Okay, the onlookers were so infuriated by her shameless words that they almost stepped forward to slap her, but I just smiled faintly. My dear, compassionate mother, do you really enjoy raising the daughter of your husband's mistress so much? Luna G is, after all, the daughter of Ji Jiping and his outside woman. Ha ha ha, this secret was something I only discovered after I died, in my spirit form. Upon hearing this, Ji Jiping immediately panicked. Luna is not my illegitimate daughter, don't listen to this wretched creature's nonsense. Luna G knew her end was near and no longer cared about anything. That's right, I am father's illegitimate daughter. You foolish woman raised another woman's daughter for 20 years and even targeted your own biological daughter at every turn. How utterly stupid. Shu Qiuqi let out a sharp cry and tumbled into a brawl with Ji Jiping, not forgetting to grab Luna G's hair and slam her onto the floor. After they finished fighting, I leaned close to the ears of Luna G and the other two and whispered softly, do you know why I destroyed my fingerprints in advance? Because I am a vengeful female ghost reborn with hatred from 2 lifetimes, here specifically to claim the lives of you 3 worthless scum. Ji Jiping looked up abruptly, his eyes filled with terror as he stared at me, as if truly seeing his daughter for the first time. Shu Qiuqi seemed to have all his strength drained from him, collapsing to the ground and weeping uncontrollably. Luna G was still screaming hysterical curses. I didn't spare them another glance. Accompanied by the policewoman, I walked step by step, resolutely, toward the exit of the police station. Outside, reporters who had rushed to the scene were packed tightly together, their camera flashes as bright as daylight. But this time, the cameras were no longer focused on a murderer or a madwoman, they were aimed at a victim who had been cruelly framed and had resolutely cleared her name. The morning sun pierced through the clouds, shining on my pale yet calm face. My revenge has only just begun. The law will judge their crimes, and the judgment of public opinion and fate will not be absent. Luna G was sentenced to a heavy penalty for multiple crimes including intentional injury, creating and using false evidence, and false accusation. Ji Jiping and Shu Qiuqi were also imprisoned for crimes such as perjury, harboring criminals, assisting in the destruction and fabrication of evidence, and false accusation. Moreover, Ji Jiping faced additional charges including commercial fraud and market manipulation. The G Group declared bankruptcy and completely became history. Although my methods were extreme, they were justified by the circumstances and did not cause serious public harm. With widespread public sympathy, I received a lenient punishment, which pales in comparison to the crimes committed by the 3 members of the G family. With my own hands and a frenzied dance, I completely tore apart the intricate web they had woven. ushering in a new life for myself. In their previous lives, they were all smiles and success. In this life, they will rot in prison. It seems the wheel of fortune has turned, and karma has indeed delivered its retribution. In the days to come, I will live as brightly as my name Juno suggests, and never again be overshadowed by gloom. When Fu Wenbin suggested bringing his mother to our home to take care of her, I readily agreed. Whoever brings her over should be the one to serve her. If he expects me to be the housemaid, no way. In my previous life, he brought his mother to our home, made me quit my job, and had me serve his mother and take care of our children. My mother-in-law can't stand to see me resting in the evening. The moment I lie down, she finds ways to make me get up and attend to her. She either wants water or needs the spittoon, keeping me up all night and making me look much older than my peers. Life got a bit better later when we moved to the city, but his colleagues gossiped, saying I wasn't good enough for him. Even my son and younger daughter looked down on me, thinking I was an embarrassment and brought shame to them. When I was full of illnesses, they sent me to a nursing home with extremely poor hygiene, watching coldly as I was left to fend for myself. Only my eldest daughter, who had married far away, came to take me away and cared for me attentively. The end. That's the mother who gave birth to and raised you. If you want to bring her here to take care of her, of course I have no objections, I said to him while sewing clothes. That concludes the first story. Stay tuned. The next one is even more exciting. Fu Wenbin's eyes flickered with a trace of doubt. You really have no objections at all if I bring Mom here? No objections. Go ahead and answer it. I won't stop you. After finishing sewing the clothes, I pushed Fu Wenbin aside and put away the sewing kit. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him. No point in wasting words anyway. Even if she comes, I won't be waiting on her. What's it to me? That very evening, Fu Wenbin brought his mother over. Seeing that old hag again made my blood boil. I turned and walked straight into the kitchen. Hua Fang, make some porridge for dinner, and mince some meat too. My mother-in-law's voice came from the living room. She had just walked in and was already giving orders. Not going. Let your good son go. All right, then let Wenbin go buy some meat. I'm busy here. You can just go yourself. Wenbin just got off work. Let him rest for a while. The mother-in-law's voice sounded again, carrying a hint of displeasure. Mom, I just got off work too. I knew you were coming, so I cleaned the house as soon as I got off work and didn't have time to buy meat and vegetables. A surge of anger rose in my heart. Then we'll have meat another day. It'll save you an extra trip. My mother-in-law's voice carried a hint of concession, but more so, displeasure. Let your precious son go buy it then, if you're so reluctant to eat without it. If you care about him that much, why not just carry him in your arms? I rolled my eyes hard in my mind. In the kitchen, I washed the rice, put it into the pot, added plenty of water, turned on the heat, and let the rice simmer slowly. Just like in the past, every evening, they had to have porridge. And if they woke up at night, they'd call for me to serve them. Tonight, let's see if I bother with you, I muttered to myself, a sly glint flashing in my eyes. Tonight. Go bother your precious son instead. The aroma of porridge gradually filled the kitchen. I also stir-fried 2 plates of snake gourd, simple yet flavorful. The children came home from school as well. Mom, wash my backpack for me. As soon as Fu Wei came back, he tossed his backpack into my arms. His voice carrying a hint of command. I grabbed the backpack and threw it back at his face. Are your hands broken? Can't you wash it yourself? Can't you see I'm busy? I looked down at him. This little ingrate. Then wash it for me when you're done. I need to carry it tomorrow. If you don't wash it for me, I won't go to school tomorrow. Fu Wei's voice was filled with a hint of threat. Whether you want to go or not is none of my business. It's not like you're studying for me, I said as I carried the cooked porridge to the living room, my anger growing stronger and stronger. In this whole family, only the eldest daughter, Cindy, helped me set the table and serve the dishes. While the 2 younger ones just sat and waited to be served, dinner began. I picked up the bowl, served Cindy a portion, put down the ladle, and started eating the dishes. My mother-in-law, Fu Wenbin, and these 2 little ingrates, still eagerly waiting for me to serve them. That's how it used to be. Just cooking wasn't enough. I had to serve each of them one by one. Now, they can eat it or not. Mom, why do you pour some porridge for big sister? Fu Jiari, that little ingrate, said unhappily. Don't you have hands? You're such a big person and can't even serve porridge. I glanced at her. If you don't serve it for me, I won't eat." After saying that, Fujiari pushed her bowl and chopsticks aside, waiting for me to coax her. "Fine, don't eat then. Cinny, have some more." I couldn't be bothered with her and gave Cinny 2 servings of snake gourd. Fu Wenbin still expects me to take care of his mother, so he didn't dare say anything to me and picked up the ladle to serve porridge for his mother-in-law himself. "How come this porridge is so watery?" My mother-in-law's voice broke the silence, her eyes filled with clear dissatisfaction. "I added too much water. I'll be more careful next time." My tone carried a hint of indifference. "What kind of attitude is that?" Her voice rose a few notches, her beady eyes fixed intently on me. I took a deep breath. "What attitude? I already said I'll make it thicker next time. Can't you hear? If you don't like how I cook, let Fu Wen do it next time." The atmosphere in the living room suddenly became tense. Everyone stopped what they were doing, their eyes fixed on me. Fu Wenbin's eyes held a trace of surprise. He hadn't expected me, usually so gentle, to suddenly erupt. "Hua Fang. What's gotten into you today?" Fu Wenbin's voice carried a hint of anger. I took a bite of the snake gourd and said coldly, "What do you mean, what's gotten into me? The food is ready, so just eat. Why all the unnecessary talk?" I kept eating by myself, too lazy to bother with these ungrateful people. The dinner proceeded in an awkward atmosphere. After finishing the meal, I put down my bowl and chopsticks, took Cinny away to check her homework. While Fu Wenbin and my mother-in-law were still eating slowly, when they finished, the bowls and chopsticks were left on the table, waiting for me to clean up. Late at night, I lay in bed, and Fu Wenbin was already fast asleep. Soon after, my mother-in-law's voice came. "Hua Fang, quickly help me to the bathroom." "Fang. Hua Fang, bring me some water, I'm thirsty." "Hua Fang, bring me the spittoon." Cough cough cough. "Up, Hua Fang, make me a bowl of noodles, I'm hungry." I turned over and went back to sleep, pretending not to hear, eating and then going to the bathroom. How disgusting. Even after my mother-in-law woke Fu Wenbin up, I still didn't move. Fu Wenbin, disturbed by his mother, saw me sleeping soundly and reached over to nudge me. "Hua Fang, get up quickly. Mom is calling you." I pulled the blanket over my head, lightly snored, and continued pretending to sleep, unable to wake me. Fu Wenbin had to help his mother to the bathroom himself. The next morning, I woke up refreshed. Wenbin was still snoring beside me. I climbed over him to get out of bed and went to Cinny's room to wake her up. We got ready and went out for breakfast. With warm wontons in our stomachs, Cinny and I exchanged smiles. "Mom, why didn't you bring my younger siblings along to eat?" Cinny asked. Never mind them. From now on, Mom will take you out for breakfast every morning, and I'll pick you up after school in the evening. We'll have dinner together before heading home." Going home? But what will my younger siblings eat when they go back tonight? Cinny blinked her big eyes and looked at me. "Let your dad cook for them, just like Mom used to, coming home from work and making dinner." "That's right, then Mom won't have to work so hard." After finishing the wontons, Cinny went to school, and I went to the commune broadcast station. I'm at work. I'm the commune's broadcaster, earning 50 yuan a month. In my previous life, because I had to take care of my mother-in-law, Fu Wenbin made me quit this stable job to stay at home as a housewife. I was so foolish back then that I actually agreed. I could have lived a good life on my own. In this lifetime, no one will hold me back again. I step into the broadcasting station and start working. At home, my mother-in-law was still waiting for me to bring her breakfast and serve her food and drink. She started calling for me early in the morning. But no one answered for a long time. Instead, she woke up Fu Wenbin. When he saw I wasn't there early in the morning, he thought I had gone to make breakfast. He lay back down and continued sleeping. Soon after, the older one was late for work, and the 2 younger ones were late for school. Fu Wenbin woke up and rushed off to work in a hurry, completely ignoring my mother-in-law. Although she had strained her back, she could still walk, just slowly. In my previous life, I had taken care of her attentively. Soon after, she quickly recovered and got a taste of being waited on. Even after her back was better, she pretended it wasn't and kept having me take care of her. Now I don't pay her any attention, and Fu Wenbin has gone to work, so she's home alone. She can't keep up the act anymore and has to get up on her own to eat, drink, and use the bathroom. In the evening, Cinny had duty at school and got out late. After work, I went to pick her up, and we had dinner at a noodle shop farther from home. I ordered a bowl of chicken leg noodles for Cinny, and a bowl of pork rib noodles for myself. After we ate our fill, we took a leisurely walk home. On the way, I explained to Cinny that we wouldn't. Can I tell them about this? Cinny and I dawdled all the way home. And it was already past 8 o'clock when we arrived. As soon as we stepped through the door, my mother-in-law's angry voice rang out. Chin, Huafang, where have you been? Why are you back so late? Mom, I work at the commune broadcast station. Have you lost your memory in your old age? Don't you remember? I rolled my eyes. No matter what shift you're on, you still have to cook. Next time, come back earlier. The whole family is waiting for you. The mother-in-law's voice was full of blame and dissatisfaction. I've been having to work overtime lately, so there's no need to wait for me. You all should just eat and drink as usual. Thinking I'll come back from work and cook for you. Keep dreaming. Fu Wenbin couldn't hold back any longer, his voice filled with command and dissatisfaction. If you, as the mother, don't cook, who will? Starting tomorrow, you are not allowed to work overtime. Come home right after work and cook. Are you dead or something? You come home so early. Can't you cook? Are you paralyzed or disabled? Why must it be me? My patience finally reached its limit. I didn't bother arguing with him and went straight into the kitchen to boil water, preparing for the evening bath for Cinny and me. Hot water for the bath. Fu Wenbin had no choice. He was a devoted son. How could he let his own mother go hungry? In the end, he had to cook some kanji himself and serve it with pickled vegetables. His mother grumbled and complained, but they made do with the meal. That night, Fu Wenbin lay in bed and said to me, Huafang, didn't you agree to let Mom stay with us? What's with the attitude now? His words, there's a hint of probing in the tone. Who's throwing a tantrum with you? If your mom wants to stay, she can. I have no objections. My voice was calm. Then what do you mean by not cooking? When Mom asked you to help her to the bathroom at night, you ignored her. Isn't it because you're unhappy about her staying here? Fu Wenbin's voice rose a few notches, carrying a hint of anger. I sneered. Are you crazy? I said I have to work overtime. Are you deaf? Can't you hear me? I'm working overtime. How am I supposed to cook? Can I split myself in two? Your mom is calling to use the bathroom. Are you dead or something? Can't you help her? Do I have to do everything? It's just that I'm not doing the work, and it all falls on him, so he can't handle it anymore. Fu Wenbin was silent for a moment, trying to calm his emotions. Huafang, why don't you just quit your job? That way, you can take care of Mom at night. At night, I can still catch up on sleep during the day at home, and someone will prepare the meals. His voice carried a hint of pleading, as if this were a solution that can solve all problems. You make $35 a month, I make $50 a month, and you want me to quit? Are you out of your mind? If I quit, the whole family. Are you going to drink the northwest wind? Let the children all stop studying and just go play in the mud? Fu Wenbin lied to me, saying it was only $35 a month. Yuan, actually, as a doctor, his salary is higher than mine, earning 60 yuan a month. Fu Wenbin knew I had misunderstood his income. His actual salary was higher than what I had mentioned, but he didn't have the courage to be honest. He knew that the extra money was all used to subsidize his mother-in-law's younger son, which was his responsibility as a filial son. Now, he felt he had shot himself in the foot and didn't know how to explain it. I chose to pretend not to know. Let me resign. Impossible. My voice was firm and resolute. Fu Wenbin was so anxious that he almost told me his real salary. But I didn't want to hear it. I turned around to sleep, letting him mutter to himself while I pretended not to hear. The room fell into silence once again, with only Fu Wenbin's sighs echoing in the air. The night grew deeper, and just as I was drifting into a hazy sleep, my mother-in-law started calling out again to use the bathroom at night. She knows she has frequent bowel and bladder issues. Yet, she insisted on having porridge, but I ignored her. In the end, Fu Wenbin couldn't sleep because of the noise and had to take care of his mother himself. As soon as my mother-in-law saw it was her precious son again, she quickly pushed Fu Wenbin back and had me go attend to her instead. All the while muttering that it should be me. This daughter-in-law of mine is taking care of me. If you want me to take care of you, just wait. And so I slept until dawn, got up and washed, then took Cinny out for breakfast. This routine went on for 2 months, and I was glowing with health. While Fu Wenbin looked as haggard as a ghost, my mother-in-law didn't feel the slightest bit sorry for Fu Wenbin. Her heart ached most for her younger son. Fu Wenchao. She would scrape the marrow from our bones to subsidize him, her younger son. She even threw her back out while babysitting for him and came to our place to recuperate. Even though she could get up to use the bathroom on her own, she still insisted every night, making Fu Wenbin help her up. Yet when we're not home, she's full of energy, frying eggs for herself. When Fu Wenbin went home to get something, he happened to catch his mother-in-law frying eggs to eat. "Mom, you can get up by yourself. Yet you make me help you to the bathroom every night. Are you deliberately making things difficult for me?" Fu Wenbin had been coming home early these days to cook and taking care of his mother-in-law at night. His resentment heavier than Sadako's, caught in the act of faking an illness. The mother-in-law immediately pretended to faint. As a doctor, Fu Wenbin could easily see through her act and splashed a ladle of cold water over her, shocked by the cold. She jumped up and scolded Fu Wenbin for being unfilial. "In the previous life, I was the one taking care of her," while he stood on moral high ground, playing the devoted son his whole life. Now, after just 2 months of having to care for her himself, he could no longer keep up the act. After being exposed for faking her illness, Fu Wenbin remained angry with his mother for a long time. She had been counting on the 25 yuan he gave her every month, no longer daring to cause trouble. She took on the household chores. After Fu Wenbin returned from work, he no longer had to cook or attend to his mother-in-law during the night, and gradually, he stopped being angry with his mother-in-law. The two of them reconciled and became as close as a loving mother and son. On this day off, Fu Wenbin went to pick up his father-in-law to bring him home. My mother-in-law and I were at home preparing the midday meal. In recent days, seeing that she couldn't manipulate me, she had become more restrained. Since she wasn't causing trouble, I couldn't be bothered to argue with her. Soon, Fu Wenbin brought his father-in-law over, and along with them came the 2 children of his younger sister Fu Wenxiu, Zhao Lily and Zhao Hui. These 2 little brats didn't even greet anyone when they came in, and I couldn't be bothered to pay them any attention. In my previous life, they weren't any good either. After my sister-in-law got divorced, she dumped the kids on Fu Wenbin and me to raise. We raised them for her, and they turned out to be a pair of ungrateful wretches. They had everything my own children had, but after we provided for them, they actually complained that we didn't give enough, and even, they want us to pay for a house. Just looking at them now is irritating. After the food was served and everyone had eaten their fill, my father-in-law's true colors showed. "Wenbin, Lily and Huizi will be living with you from now on. It'll be more convenient for school and all." Fu Wenbin hemmed and hawed, and I knew he wasn't willing. It was the same in the previous life. Clearly he didn't want to, yet he stubbornly made me the bad guy. "Now, if you want to support them, go ahead and support them." "They want me to use my salary to support them." "No way." Seeing that I remained silent, Fu Wenbin had no choice but to brace himself and say, "Dad, I need to discuss it with Hua Fang." "Discuss what?" "A man is the pillar of the household. Can't you, as the man of the house, make the decision?" My father-in-law bared his yellow teeth and spouted this nonsense. Seeing that I still did not step forward to refuse, Fu Wenbin had no choice but to agree to take care of these 2 nephews. In the afternoon, Fu Wenbin took my father-in-law and mother-in-law back to my brother-in-law's place. My mother-in-law's back injury had healed, and she didn't want to stay here doing housework. So she quickly returned to her younger son's home to work as a domestic helper. I knew exactly what she was scheming. She thought that once she left, I would take over the housework again and raise her younger daughter's child. What a thought! Whoever promised to take care of her beauty should be the one to do it. After Fu Wenbin got off work, he thought his mother wasn't home and that I would, as usual, work tirelessly without complaint. But the moment he stepped inside, he was completely stunned. The house was a complete mess, like a pigsty, with clothes and shoes scattered everywhere. His 2 nephews, Fu Wei and Fu Jiayi, were in the living room, crying out in hunger, and the moment they saw him return, they practically wanted to tear his clothes off and devour him. Seeing this, he had no choice but to cook for these ungrateful people. Xin Yi and I, as usual, had dinner outside and slowly strolled back home. It was already past 8 when we got home. Fu Wenbin was sitting in the living room waiting for me. The table was a mess with a pile of leftovers, waiting for me to clean up. "Qin Hua Fang, what's wrong with you? Coming home so late every day, how did you become like this? You don't care about the family at all." "I have to work overtime. How many times do I need to say it? If I don't earn money, with your measly 35 yuan salary, can the whole family survive on air? I am not afraid of him causing a scene at the broadcasting station. The station director is my dad's childhood friend. If he dares to go there, he'll be thrown out immediately. Fu Wenbin was miserable and filled with regret. If he had known it would come to this, he wouldn't have hidden the fact that his salary was 60 yuan from me, but now he doesn't dare to say anything, afraid that I'll demand the money. Hui Fang, can't you just not work overtime? He said helplessly. Of course not, I'm a good comrade. How could I slack off? I said, staring at him. Chairman Maro said, do it yourself, and you'll have plenty of food and clothing. Since you promised to take care of your 2 nephews, you should do it yourself. Stop being generous with others' resources and shifting the responsibility. Give it to someone else. After saying that, I didn't wait for his response. Fu Wei and Fu Jiari also came to accuse me of neglecting the family, cursing and saying they no longer recognized me as their mother. I couldn't be bothered to deal with these 2 ungrateful wretches. I turned and went to Cindy's room to tutor her with her homework. During this time, Fu Wenbin came home early every day to cook and do laundry for Zhao Lily, Zhao Hui, and those 2 ungrateful wretches. The clothes of these ungrateful wretches looked as if they had been rolled in a pigsty, especially Zhao Hui's clothes, which had mud mixed with a bit of dog feces, stinking unbearably. When Fu Wenbin couldn't wash it off no matter how hard he tried, after washing and drying, the clothes turned yellowish and still smelled like dog poop. Zhao Hui wore them to school and was laughed at by his classmates all day. Furious, he came back and smeared dog poop all over Fu Wenbin's clothes. When Fu Wenbin returned home and saw his entire wardrobe full of clothes covered in dog poop, he was so angry that he beat up Zhao Hui and sent him, and Zhao Lily was sent back to her in-laws' house. In my past life, when I took care of Zhao Hui and Zhao Lily, those 2 ungrateful kids had all sorts of demands. They wanted brand new clothes, soft-cooked meals, and big pieces of meat. They even called for me to stand guard when they went to the bathroom in the middle of the night. If I didn't comply, they would go around saying I was mistreating them. Fu Wenbin would even chime in sarcastically, "The kids, they just like you." I was so angry, but seeing him like this now is really satisfying. The next day, my sister-in-law, Fu Wenxiu, came to confront me in a rage. Qin Huifang, what right do you have to send my children back to my parents? My brother already agreed to take care of them. Why did you interfere? She was furious and dragged me out of the kitchen. I was off today and just about to cook a bowl of chicken noodle soup when this lunatic showed up. Are you blind? It was your brother Fu Wenbin who took your child back yesterday. What does that have to do with me? Don't just dump all the blame on me, whether it's deserved or not. I glanced at her, not wanting to engage, and took out the chicken from the cabinet to prepare for making soup. Fu Wenxiu stared at me in disbelief. If it weren't for you not taking care of the children, would my brother have had to send them back? What are you talking about? It was your brother who agreed to take care of the children in the first place, not me. Why are you coming to me? Go talk to your brother. I pushed. Leave her. Get ready to boil water. I don't care. You go pick up the kids right now and take good care of them from now on. Then I'll forgive you. Fu Wenxiu shamelessly uttered these words, and I immediately flew into a rage. I didn't even care about my chicken soup anymore, and slapped her across the face, leaving her dazed and disoriented. Do I owe you a favor? Forgive me. Who do you think you are to demand my forgiveness? Get lost now. Fu Wenxiu was slapped by me and immediately froze. She's the type who bullies the weak but fears the strong. In her previous life, she was bullied by colleagues at the cotton mill, and it was me who stood up for her. Timid and submissive outside, but aggressive at home, seeing my fierce expression. Fu Wenxiu didn't dare to cause any more trouble. Covering her face, she scurried away in a flash. In the evening, Fu Wenbin came back and drank the chicken soup I made, looking very satisfied. I told him about what happened with Fu Wenxiu during the day. Hurry up and bring your 2 nephews back, so your sister won't come to the house and cause a scene again. After hearing this, he stayed silent for a long time and let out a deep sigh. These past few days, I've been taking care of the housework and preparing meals when he comes home. He doesn't want to go back to the chaotic days from before, so he firmly refuses to bring them back. Father-in-law and mother-in-law waited anxiously for Fu Wenbin to pick up Zhao Hui and Zhao Lily, growing more and more impatient. The longer Zhao Hui and Zhao Lily stayed at their house, the less food they had, and they couldn't wait for these two grandchildren to leave. It didn't take long for them to lose patience. So they brought Fu Wanxiu and the two ungrateful children to find us. I had known they would come, and these past few days I had resumed my overtime work mode. By the time I got home, my in-laws, Fu Wanxiu and Fu Wenbin, were already growing impatient. A woman like you, coming home so late every day. It's just not proper. My mother-in-law glanced at me with her beady eyes. If I don't work, will you support me? Cinny, Xiaowei. Jiari, have you ever given a single penny for the three of them growing up? Either give me money so I don't have to work, or don't lecture me. How annoying. The moment I got home, she started in on me. All right, we came today to ask if Wanxiu and the two kids can move in with you. With Wanxiu here to take care of you, it would also ease the burden on you too, the father-in-law shamelessly said. Fu Wenbin pretended to be dead and stayed silent on the side. I knew he agreed to let his sister move in. Once Fu Wanxiu moved in, he wouldn't have to do the housework or take care of the kids anymore. He could just be a hands-off boss. Why wouldn't he want that? I don't agree. There's not enough space. We only have 3 rooms, one for Wenbin and me, one for Cinny and Jiari, and one for Xiaowei. There are no extra rooms. Want to move in? No way. What's so hard about this? You and Wanxiu share a room, Xiaowei and Huizi share a room, Lily, Cinny, and Jiari share a room, and Wenbin can sleep in the living room. Won't that work? My mother-in-law grinned, saying cheerfully, 3 rooms for 8 people. It'll be as crowded as a pigsty. Is that even a place for humans to live? I said, holding back my anger. You two are well off. Can't you help your sister? Why must family members be so calculative? The father-in-law said through gritted teeth, say, Wanxiu's house is spacious, with a full 4 rooms. Why don't you arrange for Wanxiu to stay at Wanxiu's place? There are only 4 people in their family, and they live. Under the circumstances, I felt a wave of contempt inside. They talk better than they sing. If their precious little son were to suffer a loss, they would tear the roof down, knock it off. Stop pretending to be all high and mighty. Your mom and I will have to stay at Wanxiu's place too, but there's no room for everyone. My father-in-law was still making excuses. It hasn't happened yet. Right, let Wanxiu and the child stay there first. Dad, didn't you say family shouldn't be so calculational? Wanxiu definitely won't mind either. Hurry up and take Wanxiu to stay there. My patience was wearing thin, and I didn't want to argue with them any longer. You. Our Fu family cannot accept such an unfilial daughter-in-law. Wenbin, divorce her immediately. My mother-in-law clutched her chest. She's faking it again. After serving her for so long in my past life, I can tell at a glance whether she's pretending to be sick. Fu Wenbin, once again consumed by filial piety, yelled at me, that's enough. Qin Huifang, our whole family is begging you. When will you ever stop? Seeing him like this, I couldn't hold back anymore. I stood up, flipped the table, and yelled at him, this is the house assigned to me by the broadcasting station, and it has nothing to do with you. You have nothing to do with the Fu family. All of you get out, including you, Fu Wenbin. Get as far away as possible, shouting even louder than Fu Wenbin just did. It's just a matter of who has the louder voice. I've got plenty of that. Get out, all of you get out. I grabbed a big broom and shooed them all out, then shut the door, letting Fu Wenbin pound on it from outside. I pretended not to hear a thing. My mother-in-law was throwing a tantrum and rolling on the ground outside the door. All the neighbors came out to watch the spectacle, but not a single one of them pointed fingers at me. Over the years, the neighbors have seen better than anyone how the Fu family has been sucking me dry. In the end, Fu Wenbin, feeling ashamed, dragged his mother away. Fu Wei and Fu Jiari, those 2 little ingrates, still wanted to open the door, but I stopped them. I threw both of them out as well, shouting toward the door, divorce. These 2 kids are yours. Cinny is mine. Tomorrow we'll go file for divorce. After saying that, I went back into the house with Cinny, ignoring the Fu family's howling outside the door. I had long wanted to divorce Fu Wenbin. Now that things have blown up, it's just as well. It saves me from having to see his family every day. They disgust me. In the morning, I went to work as usual. During the lunch break, my mother-in-law and the whole family showed up at my workplace. My mother-in-law was at the commune's public square, at the station entrance. She stood with hands on her hips, spitting as she furiously cursed me for being unfilial, bullying the elderly, and hurled all sorts of filthy insults my way. If it weren't for the people blocking the door, she looked like she was about to charge in and tear me apart. I didn't back down either. I picked up the water glass from the table and splashed it right in her face. You and your whole family, trying to take advantage of me. Don't even think about it. Who took advantage of you? As the eldest sister-in-law, you're like a mother to her. It's only right for you to help Wanshio. My mother-in-law's finger jabbed toward my face, and I quickly dodged. Is your mother dead? Do I have to be her mother instead? How shameless. A whole family of rotten-hearted scoundrels. Get out of here, now. She came at just the right time. I was just worrying about how to blow this matter up. Go ahead, make a scene. The bigger the scene, the sooner we'll be divorced. Everyone, come and judge for yourselves. I'm living in my brother's house. And he agreed to it, but my sister-in-law objects. She even came in the middle of the night to my mother. My two poor children, and I were all kicked out. There's no justice in this world. My sister-in-law, Fu Wanshio, threw herself on the ground, her face smeared with tears and snot. Not even caring how dirty it looked, Zhao Lily and Zhao Hui also cursed at me for bullying their mother and spat in my direction. None of the onlookers felt any sympathy for them. In these times, everyone's homes are so cramped, barely enough for their own families. Stay. My sister-in-law's family still wants to butt in, and just hearing about it makes me furious. I said you have no shame, and you still won't admit it. The apartment was clearly allocated to me by the broadcasting station. What the hell does it have to do with your Fu family, your brother's apartment? It's like putting a gold rim on a chamber pot. Utterly ridiculous. Phut. Most of the people around were my colleagues, and they knew I wasn't lying. They all, looked at my mother-in-law and sister-in-law with contempt. I can't be bothered to argue with them here either. I pulled out the station manager's bicycle and rode toward Fu Wenbin's workplace. If they want to make a scene, then let's make a scene at your precious son's workplace. I rode the bicycle ahead, while my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and the two little ingrates ran after me, trying to stop me from going to Fu Wenbin's workplace to cause a scene. I stood up and walked directly, and soon arrived at the hospital where Fu Wenbin worked. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law hadn't arrived yet. I went in and happened to see Fu Wenbin having lunch, but I bypassed him and went straight to his supervisor. As soon as I saw the supervisor, I started crying and wailing, urging the supervisor to return Fu Wenbin's wages to him. Supervisor, our whole family depends on Wenbin's 6 yuan salary to get by. You can't withhold his wages. If you take it away, 25, just give him 35 yuan. We really don't have enough to get by. My sister-in-law still relies on this money to pay her rent. I cried, hoarsely, clutching the leader's sleeve tightly and refusing to let go. Fu Wenbin rushed over upon hearing the commotion, breaking out in a cold sweat from fright. Qin Huifang, what madness is this? When did I ever say the leader docked my pay? Stop talking nonsense here and go back quickly. Fu Wenbin's veins bulged. As he tried to pull me away, I fiercely shook off his hand. What your mom said, and you still won't admit it. She said your monthly salary of 60 is all given to your boss, so you could get a promotion. The boss immediately flew into a rage. Fu Wenbin, if you can't handle your family matters, you're suspended for now. Go explain clearly to your family where your salary has really gone. Don't let everyone in the hospital think I, Wang Shuyi, am a thief, specializing in stealing your salary. The hospital staff were dumbfounded. The hospital's finance officer was also present, and she was well aware of Fu Wenbin's salary, so she quickly spoke up for Wang Shuyi. Fu, doctor, that's not fair. You signed and received your salary every month yourself. Who withheld your pay? You even had meals. You can eat carelessly, but you can't speak carelessly. Fu Wenbin still wanted to explain, but Wang Shuyi had no intention of listening. He called security and had him thrown out. By the time his mother-in-law and sister-in-law rushed over, upon arrival, I saw Fu Wenbin being thrown to the ground by the hospital security. Fu Wenbin saw his mother-in-law and sister-in-law and couldn't hold back his anger. Mom, I clearly gave you 25 yuan every month. Why did you lie to Huifang, saying the leader took it? Do you know you've ruined me? I've been suspended by the hospital now. Fu Wenbin's eyes welled up, flushed and veins bulging, seeing him like that. I quietly hopped on my bike and rode off, leaving them cursing and shouting at the hospital entrance. My mother-in-law even wanted to go in to plead on behalf of Fu Wenbin. The hospital security simply wouldn't let her in. Fu Wenbin had no choice but to take his mother and sister and slink back home. Fu Wenbin, his mother, and his sister still wanted to go to the broadcasting station. They came to the house assigned to me to settle scores with me, as soon as they got home. The mother and her 2 children were dumbfounded. All the belongings in the east and west rooms had been moved out. Everything belonging to Fu Wenbin, Fu Wei, and Fu Jiari, the 3 of them. Early this morning, I announced my intention to divorce at the broadcasting station. This house was originally assigned to me by the station, allocated for 5 people with 3 rooms, one of which included a living room. Now that the unit knows I'm getting a divorce, they immediately took the house back. There are plenty of people in the unit without housing. As soon as they found out I was getting a divorce, they immediately decided who would move in. They didn't even go to work today and just took over the house. Now, Fu Wenbin has no place to stay even if he wants to move back. The station head reserved a large room with a living room for me, which is bigger than the east and west rooms. Combined, it's more than enough for Cindy and me to live in. Fu Wenbin still wants to kick people out. But it's not that easy to make someone who has already moved in leave. They directly sent him and his mother and 2 children packing. Thrown out, the courtyard gate was locked, while the mother-in-law and sister-in-law were still screaming outside. The person living in the east room directly splashed a basin of slop water at them, drenching all 3 of them completely soaked. Fu Wenbin had no choice but to take his luggage and follow his mother-in-law back. Staying at her place for the time being, the Fu family, seeing that I was neither swayed by soft tactics nor intimidated by harsh ones and that they couldn't gain any advantage from me, kept urging Fu Wenbin every day to sign the divorce papers quickly. Since their precious son earned a monthly salary of 60 yuan and had no fear of not being able to marry a good wife, so, day after day, Fu Wenbin was nagged by his mother, I could only agree to divorce me. Fu Wei is the golden grandson of their family, so he must stay with Fu Wenbin, and Cindy will come with me. At first, my mother-in-law absolutely refused to let Fu Jiari stay with Fu Wenbin and insisted that I take care of Fu Jiari. I also disagreed and firmly refused to raise this ungrateful child. In the end, I agreed to give my mother-in-law 7 yuan per month as child support for Fu Jiari, and only then did they agree to raise Fu Jiari. So, Fu Wenbin and I finally got divorced. Not long after the divorce, Fu Wenbin was reinstated, but his salary was reduced to 35 yuan because of the scene I had made at the hospital, which had offended Wang Shuyi. Fu Wenbin didn't dare to object to the salary cut, fearing that Wang Shuyi might really fire him. When my mother-in-law learned that Fu Wenbin's salary was I only had 35 yuan, and in anger, I went to the broadcasting station to cause trouble again. I pulled out the station master's bicycle and thought about riding it to the hospital to bother Fu Wenbin. The station master, that little old man, hurried out to smooth things over. Last time, I rode his bicycle so hard it nearly fell apart, so this time he absolutely refused to lend it to me. Seeing that I wanted to cause trouble at the hospital again, my mother-in-law, afraid that Fu Wenbin might not even get the last 35 yuan, dashed off in a flash. My mother-in-law still wouldn't give up and would occasionally come to the broadcasting station to harass me, trying to get me fired. The station manager is my dad's childhood friend, so I'm not at all afraid of her coming to the broadcasting station to make a scene. She can't do anything to me. She came to cause trouble a few times, but the station manager drove her away every time, went back, since my mother-in-law couldn't control me at the broadcasting station. She came to harass me and Cindy at home every day. Finally, I had no choice but to make a harsh threat. If she dared to harass me one more time, I would go and cause trouble at Fu Wenchao's job at the leather shoe factory until he lost it. After all, those with nothing to lose fear nothing, and I was ready to go all the way. This tactic worked like a charm. My mother-in-law, afraid of affecting her younger son's job, never dared to bother me again. I focused all my energy on my own work and Cindy's studies. 3 months passed like this, and my salary increased to 55 yuan, and Cindy also achieved the 3rd place in school. Every month, I set aside a portion of my salary, and after covering food and daily expenses, social engagements, the rest goes to Cindy's dance lessons. In my previous life, Cindy loved dancing and had a natural talent for it, but as her mother, I couldn't afford to support her. Fu Wenbin's salary was mostly used to support his mother's family. For this, I argued with Fu Wenbin countless times, but couldn't squeeze out a single penny for Cindy. Now, I can finally compensate Cindy. Later, I learned from the neighbors that Fu Wenchao got married. He married Chen Liying, a teacher at Dongfanghong School. Chen Liying's monthly salary was only 15 yuan, but her former mother-in-law's entire family was very satisfied with her. They thought that by Fu Wenbin marrying Chen Liying, she could tutor the Fu family's children at home after work. Fu Wenchao has 3 children, Fu Qiong, Fu Gang, and Fu Tingting. Fu Wenxiu has 2 children, Zhao Lili and Zhao Hui, adding Fu Wei and Fu Jiari. There are a total of 7 children to tutor. Chen Liying had just married into the Fu family when her former mother-in-law couldn't wait to ask her to tutor the children. Chen Liying was in her second marriage and brought her daughter Chen Fengshu into the Fu family. She was already furious tutoring her own child, so the thought of tutoring 7 children at once made her feel overwhelmed. Do not want to agree. Fu Wenbin once again brought out that set of PUA theories he used on me to brainwash Chen Liying. You are the eldest daughter-in-law of our Fu family, so it's only natural that you, when more effort is needed, our whole family is begging you. Are you done yet? Do you have to be so nitpicky? As the eldest sister-in-law, is it really so hard to take a little more care of your younger siblings? Liying, put your heart into tutoring the children now. When they grow up and become successful, they will all be grateful to you. Blah, blah, he went on and on, more annoying than the monk Tang Sanzang, making Chen Liying's ears almost grow calluses from listening. She thought that being able to marry Fu Wenbin, a doctor, in her second marriage was already quite fortunate, and in the end, she reluctantly agreed to all of Fu Wenbin's requests, unreasonable demands. Chen Liying was already fed up with the students at school, and when she got home, she had to serve her ex-in-laws and their entire family like a workhorse. After tutoring the 8 children with their homework, she also had to hand-wash all the clothes changed by the 8 children and 4 adults. She also had to cook meals for 12 people after returning from work, and after the meals, she had to wash all the dishes and utensils by herself. This kind of life didn't last long. She was reported by a parent just because she dozed off while teaching a class. The principal scolded her, and after returning home, she had a big argument with Fu Wenbin and then quit her responsibilities. No matter how much her former mother-in-law stirred up trouble, she no longer contributed to the Fu family, not even tutoring the child, which infuriated her former father-in-law so much that he almost passed out. In the past, feeling that without Chen Liying's tutoring, the children would never get into Tsinghua or Peking University, he anxiously pestered Fu Wenbin every day. Fu Wenbin could only keep nagging Chen Liying, urging her not to take it to heart. Little did he know that he had already completely broken her heart. Chen Liying also saw through this family of leeches and decided to focus solely on her own daughter. Ignoring everything else, with no one doing the housework, the home soon became as messy as a pigsty. The former mother-in-law pretended to be sick again, leaving Fu Wenbin no choice but to grit his teeth and do the work. Before long, he was scolded by his unit leader, Wang Shuyi, and had 5 yuan deducted from his salary, which made his ex-mother-in-law so distressed that she ate snake gourd for several days in a row, paired with plain kanji. The Fu family was in chaos. While Cindy and I lived a comfortable and happy life, when Cindy and I returned home after eating noodles at a food stall, we saw Fu Wei and Fu Jiari, those 2 ungrateful people, waiting for me at the entrance of the courtyard. I can't be bothered with them, so I pulled Cindy into the house and was about to close the door, but these 2 ungrateful kids clung tightly to my skirt. Mom, send our older sister to Dad's place and let her stay with you. We promise to be obedient and never make you angry again. Fu Jiari looked up at me with a pitiful expression. Will you really listen to me? I looked down at these 2 ungrateful kids. Hearing me say this, Fu Wei nodded beside me, saying that from now on, be sure to listen well and be filial to me. They thought I agreed to take them in and try to squeeze in, but I slammed the door shut. Since you're so good at listening to me, then hurry back to your father. Your eldest sister and I are doing just fine, so don't come bother us. In this lifetime, I have no guilt toward these 2 children. I will never forget the scene of them abandoning me at the nursing home. They knew full well that I was being abused by the caretaker and covered in bedsores, yet they turned a blind eye to me. If it weren't for Cinny coming from out of town to take me away, I would have died there. I will never forgive them. When they saw that I wouldn't open the door, they immediately started cursing at me, calling me all sorts of filthy names like slut and tramp. Their behavior was exactly the same as my ex-mother-in-law's. Fortunately, I had no expectations of them at all, otherwise hearing such offensive words would have been so painful. Cinny grabbed the kitchen slop and splashed it right over their heads. No wonder Mom doesn't want you to, even your own mother gets cursed by you. You're simply not human. Get out of here now, or I'll beat you to death. After saying this, Cinny picked up a big stick and started swinging at them. Immediately, driving the two of them away, Cinny saw them run off and quickly came over to hug me. Mom, don't be sad, I'm here for you. I held Cinny's hand and walked back into the house, smiling at her. Mom is very happy to have you, not sad at all. Fu Wenbin eventually divorced Chen Liang because, like me, she was unwilling to resign and devote herself entirely to the Fu family. My former mother-in-law tried to arrange another match for Fu Wenbin, but the neighbors had already spread the Fu family's story far and wide. As soon as people heard about it, they were reluctant to marry into their family. The Fu family not only has to support the 2 children left by the ex-wife, but also the 5 children of the younger brother and sister-in-law, and on top of that, they have to take care of the father-in-law and the mother-in-law. With these conditions, even a widow who has been single for 10 years wouldn't look twice at Fu Wenbin. In the end, Fu Wenbin came back to beg me to reconcile, spouting moral platitudes and asking me to go back and take care of their whole family, saying his mother couldn't do without me and the children missed me every night. I was so furious that I immediately went to my ex-mother-in-law's house and warned her that if Fu Wenbin came to see me one more time, I would go to the shoe factory to find Fu Wenchao. Once, frightened, my ex-mother-in-law kept a close watch on Fu Wenbin and never dared to let him harass me again. The Fu family, having lost Chen Liang as their daughter-in-law and unable to find anyone else to take her place, had no choice but to have the ex-mother-in-law take on the household chores herself. She originally, extra chapter, I also thought about quitting, but for the sake of Fu Wenbin's 35 yuan salary, I had to grit my teeth and bear it, taking care of those, output, 2 ungrateful wretches for Fu Wenbin. In my previous life, I worked odd jobs while taking care of the whole family, and the household expenses were just enough. They could even save some money to subsidize Fu Wenchao's family. Now, with Fu Wenbin's salary halved and no extra income from my odd jobs, they have no money to subsidize Fu Wenchao, and my former father-in-law, I had to go work in the fields to earn food, just to save more money for his youngest son, and ended up exhausting myself with all sorts of health problems. Within a few years, my former in-laws passed away, living over a decade less than in their previous lives. As soon as my former in-laws passed away, Fu Wenbin was immediately kicked out by Fu Wenchao. Before they died, they made a will in front of the village chief, leaving all the Fu family's properties to Fu Wenchao and his wife. At first, Wenbin stubbornly refused to believe it, thinking Fu Wenchao was lying. It wasn't until the village chief produced the will with his ex-in-law's fingerprints on it, that he covered his face and wept bitterly, forced to accept that his own parents never truly loved him. They had torn his family apart, yet gave all his wages and the house he rightfully deserved to his younger brother's family. Furious, he demanded that Fu Wenchao return all the wages he had earned over the years. What a pipe dream. Fu Wenbin's salary over the years was all given to his ex-mother-in-law. Fu Wenchao stubbornly denies that the salary is with him, and Fu Wenbin can do nothing about it. Even taking it to court was useless. His salary was indeed given to his ex-mother-in-law every month. Now that his ex-mother-in-law has passed away, he has no savings at all, and he has lost the house too. He can only rent a place to live with his 2 children. The hospital also fired him because he repeatedly prescribed the wrong medication. In the end, he could only work at a village clinic, earning only 20 yuan wage, and still having to rent a place to live. It's simply unaffordable to support Fu Wei and Fu Jiao's education. Both of them dropped out of school before finishing junior high and went out to work. After learning they had no money for school, I asked a neighbor to tell them that I would cover their tuition fees. But these 2 ungrateful brats didn't appreciate it at all. They thought that by working outside, they could make a fortune on their own. In the end, after a whole year, they hadn't saved a single penny and eventually turned to me for help, searching for me everywhere. Over the years, I have worked diligently at the commune broadcasting station with the best performance, so the station manager recommended me to work at the city broadcasting station. Those two ungrateful people want to find me and take advantage of me. That's not going to happen. I moved to the city with Cine and rented out the house allocated by the broadcasting station to the station manager's family. It wasn't really renting, it was more like having the station manager help me hold on to the house. The house is still mine. After the policy was announced, I bought the house, waiting for the price to double in the future, to leave it to Cine. The end. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.